Hello, this is Harwin from Evolve. This podcast is why loyalty is dead and what you can do about it. So, before the before the times, maybe a few decades ago, people used to be loyal, and if there was some restaurant that they used to like, they used to travel 10, maybe 5, 10 kilometers to go be at that restaurant or. If there was someone who they liked, they maybe wrote letters, physical letters I'm talking about. Maybe they put the effort into writing SMS and text in those kind of keyboards. And when there was a time when you had to press 4 times to get the alphabet S and those kind of things. And there was a thing called loyalty, and people were loyal once they started doing something. And it's something that you can cry about it, that people are not loyal anymore, and those kind of things, or either you can understand that this is how society has become, and get with it and do something about it. And if you want to cry about it, that people are not loyal anymore, and how people used to buy the same product and they used to be loyal with the brands, and people used to be loyal in general, and those kind of things. If you want to cry about it, this is not the podcast here. You can turn it off and maybe go somewhere else and other places. But here we are here to understand what the situation is, and going to do something about it. And here's what you can do about it. First is you have to realize that people, in fact, have options, and because of that, you have to not be complacent and get with the times and improve your service if there's something that is lacking. The other is you don't have to show that if you're someone who is dissatisfied, or someone that you find that no, they should have been buying my product, why did they do those kind of things. You should not show your dissatisfaction. You should be able to handle those kind of things with ease. If there is somebody flaking on you, or if sometimes customers are not calling you back or not emailing you back, or those kind of things, you have to understand that people have become busy in general, and their attention span has become very less, and people sometimes forget. That is the truth. And instead of getting upset or maybe butthurt or maybe writing angry emails and those kind of things, you should just realize that this is what it is, and people have the attention span has gotten low. What you can do is mail more often, write more often. Don't get upset if someone does not do that. You can follow up more often, and you can, if someone does not buy you, so if you're talking to someone and if they don't buy at that time, you can tell them that whenever next time they think about you, you'll be happy to have them, and those kind of things. So this is the kind of thing that in modern times you have to get with it. And I don't think you can do anything as a person. It might be technically possible to get back to that generation, but I don't think this is happening anytime soon, and attention is going to get more expensive as time goes on, and so is loyalty. So, what you can do as a marketer is maybe get some incentive for them to be loyal. So, it could be a loyalty program that they actually are interested, and they are invested in the sense that every time this happens, they are loyal to the sense that changing you, moving to another service, has more pain than it has pleasure. And it should the transition is not that easy, because if those kind of things happen, then if it is very easy to shift to other services, Like if it's just a flight, that instead of this flight you're booking another flight. So that is not something that you have some kind of loyalty over. But if you're kind of in a membership program, those kind of things that you have a lot of benefits, and those kind of things, it makes a difference. So maybe for loyalty, this airlines is not a good example. So maybe if you have a software, so the best example is your autoresponder softwares, which have a lot of built-in loyalty in the sense that a lot of times businesses set up their autoresponders and emails, and it's kind of a technical thing. It's not difficult, but a lot of people cannot figure it out, and it takes some time to do it. And once you set it up, it is kind of difficult to migrate it to the other autoresponders. So this kind of built-in loyalty, that if it is difficult to change to other services, that makes your service that makes people loyal to your service. And if there's something that it is you don't have to think about it so much. So like you have this Amazon Prime membership that it is some kind of like 9.99 per year in Indian rupees. So if you buy this, they have so many services that come along with it, that when someone thinks of canceling it, they really have to think that, oh my god, all those services will go away, because the value ladder that they put, that for this kind of money, the kind of value, if you put something that is exponentially bigger than what they have in a service, this is another way of structuring loyalty. So those kind of things also happen. But what are other ways in you can structure loyalty? So in social media, it's a lot difficult to structure loyalty, because people get bombarded with a lot of messages that come up, and people usually follow people in hundreds and thousands these days. So it's not that you are one of the 10 people that show up on the list. There are thousands of people who post regularly. With you're competing with meme pages, their best friends, girls, influencers, your other brands, and your competitors, and TV actors, and those kind of things. They're all coming it out in the same feed, and you have to compete with them. So the best thing that you can do is be regular, showing up more than your competitor. This is something that you can do, showing up more and being more interesting than the other pages that they follow that are boring. And honestly, it is not that difficult to beat, because a lot of people, it's the content isn't really very interesting. So if you think about it, if you go through this, but it's not something that starting out you can start competing with the meme pages and celebrities. That is something you can't do. But what you can do is put out more content than your competition and other things that they have, that if they start to think about your product or services, they do remember you. And the rule is between 21 times, once every 21 days is something that you should at least touch. But if you're in social media, I do recommend that you try to do a lot more than that, because chances of you getting in their feed is also very low, because it the algorithm works in such a way that things that they like and they regularly like and interact with get shown more in the feed. And a lot of times it is possible that you might just not be showing up in their feeds. So you have to take that into the calculation whenever you're posting, because you might be thinking that if you post so much content, people might get annoyed about it. But that is a thing of the past. You should not be thinking about that, because a lot of times a lot of your customers will be having hundreds and thousands of people that they follow, And if you show up, it is a good content, you're following up every time with good content that is adding value to their lives, they will welcome it. And people are bored as it is, so a lot of times it might be something that is interesting. You might be someone who is interesting, doing something interesting in their lives. So go ahead, and as long as it adds value and is a follow up, you should do it, and try to do it as many platforms as possible, whether it's other social networks, email, or direct mail, SMS, every possible. The more media that you cover, the more chances you have of structuring a loyalty overhead over in the long run. And even if you're doing all this, you have to remember that people are still going to drop out of your list. There will be an attrition that will be happening, and you have to understand that it is kind of part of life now, and that is going to happen. Loyalty is dead. But from your end, what you can do is be more regular with your follow ups, and showing up more, and trying to structure something that you're adding value, and try to get them into some kind of continuity program or a membership program if that is possible, so that they have an incentive to not leave you. So technically you're bribing them. The It's kind of, if you're adding value, you are it's bribing here. It's not the same that you do in those government offices and those kind of things. We're not talking about that. There might be negative connotations here, but bribing in the sense that you are adding so much value, if whether it's a book or a free gift, those kind of things. Using that to get them into a continuity program is one of the way you can structure loyalty into your marketing programs, because doing that as it is, it's difficult. And there might be some kind of loyal people. Of course there are maybe 1% or 5% of the people who will be loyal to you, and they will stick with you. But here, and we are then talking the long run, and what everyone can do. So here's something that you can do about if loyalty is dead, this is how you can do to combat it and get back stronger. So thank you for listening to SU Wolf. This is Harwin signing out.